Hello, I'm Brett Leininger,
And I'm American Joe Matuszewski.
and thank you for joining us for another edition of our podcast to talk about the latest and greatest as it pertains to state and local government and the Maryland General Assembly.
There's a lot of handicapping that goes on prior to a General Assembly session. Everyone tries to predetermine what is going to be a topic about the session. Every session has a fingerprint of its own, and I mean that in a positive way. You may think that there are hot issues that everybody's going to talk about, and generally everyone's right, but there's always a surprise or two that come up in the session. Today, we're just going to talk about some of the more obvious ones. We'll go down the list very quickly. It would be vaping, renewable energy portfolio 2.0, the Preakness, the Kirwan Commission. There'll be lots of talk about that for sure. Sports betting and 5G communications.
Yeah, I think the Kirwan Commission will dominate a lot of time, a lot of funding issues related to that. And as we draw closer to the legislative session, we will provide a deeper dive on many of these topics and any new ones that may come up between now and the beginning of the legislative session.
And the Kirwan Commission is going to be very, very interesting because this whole process of trying to find out how to increase and improve a budget for education and the curriculum for students it comes up every 10 years or so, and it's a necessity that has to be addressed. But it is so partisan because everyone is trying to get a portion of that pie, and there's going to be a lot of contention and a lot of jockeying back and forth as this issue develops.
And that will be in addition to having a new Speaker of the House and a new Senate President and all of the changes that will take place and have taken place as a result. So tied to the Kirwan Commission activity is other sources of revenue, and one of those significant sources will be sports betting. That will be the subject of legislation that will move the issue to a referendum in the 2020 presidential election in November. But the legislature will definitely put as much meat on the bones of that issue as possible. And we expect that will be part and parcel of the discussion with Kirwan as it relates to what additional funding will come from sports betting. You can almost guarantee that the legislation will pass. It's just a matter of what will be in the legislation, and then how quickly the state of Maryland will, which will be governed by the Lottery Commission, how quickly they'll be able to shift into sports betting. I think the goal could be to have it up and running by the Super Bowl, which would obviously be a significant event from the standpoint of sports betting.
General Assembly is also going to look at 5G communications. That's a big deal. About half the country already has adopted legislation enabling 5G to move forward. 5G will enable quicker communications, a broader menu of communications, electronic communications. There was a bill in the legislature that got derailed because of some personnel issues among legislators last year. The bill will be back again this year. In a nutshell, what it will do is that it will enable the bulk of the local calls to be able to get off an off-ramp, if you will, off of a major highway and get answered quickly, so that the longer calls on the main highway will be able to flow more quickly. That's a very basic, very simple description of what it does, but there are lots and lots of local issues. Many of the counties are trying to negotiate with people who put the poles up and who put the lines together, who put the actual 5G equipment in, as far as aesthetics, zoning, and costs. So there's going to be a lot of local input as well as state input. So this is a very sophisticated but very necessary piece of legislation that the General Assembly will take action on in 2020.
So with that, as we draw closer to the session, we will take a deeper dive on some of these issues, and we look forward to seeing you again. Please remember to check out our blog and our website for any information, updated information on just politics in general at the state and local level, as well as procurement activity. There's plenty of activity in the procurement front at the state level, and very interesting for companies interested in doing business with the state and the local governments.
So please visit us on our website at www.oldlinelobbying.com and follow us on social media. Thank you.
Thank you.